Good morning. This is Tuesday's lesson, and it's called Translation. Not about languages, but about moving shapes around a grid. So where we've been looking before at reflection, so we're kind of flipping the shape across a mirror line, translation is actually just moving a shape, so it stays exactly how it looks, it just moves somewhere else around the grid. And so it'll usually tell you what it wants to, what it would like you to do if you want to move, translate a shape, or it might show you where it's been moved to, and you have to describe what the translation is. And it's usually about how many squares up, down, left, or right. So for here, they're asking you to do a few things just to practice first of all. So the first one is translate the shape 4 squares to the right. So you just take that square, and then you will move it 4 squares to the right. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where the new square should be. Okay, and then the next ones are just variations on that. So this one says translate the square to the shape 2 squares up. So that'd be up 2. So 1 and 2, and you just count where it lands. Then it gets a bit more difficult, so it's now saying 4 squares to the right and 2 up. So you'd move it 4 to the right and 2 up, and this one is now 3 squares to the left and 5 down. And you just draw the square where it ends up. With number 2, we're looking at some more complex shapes now, but again, you don't have to flip them like you do with a mirror line. You just move them on the grid. So they've got shapes A, B, C, and D. And it's start off with A, so it says translate shape A 5 squares to the right and 3 down. So I usually just pick a point of that shape. So let's say that one, and then it says move 5 to the right and 3 down. So 1, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3 down. So that's 1, 2, 3. So that's where my point is. So then I just draw the rest of the shape. So it's 3 across, 3 up, and then just join them like that, but perhaps use a ruler. And that's where the shape has been translated to. So then you can try it with B, C, and D. Here you've got a question where Dora has tried to translate triangle A 2 squares to the right and 7 squares up. Is she correct? I'll give you a hint, she's not. But try and explain what has she done wrong in that translation. Then we move on to the next sheet. So again, this time they've done the translations for you, and now you have to describe what those translations are. So if we look at shape A, again, pick one point. So that point has to now go to there. What did it have to do to get there? So how many to the right did it have to go, and how many down? And then that will describe the translation for the whole shape. And the same with B. This time it's gone left and up, and this time it's just gone to the right. So maybe pick, I would maybe go for this point, perhaps, but it doesn't really matter whichever point you choose. It will end up the same. In question 5, it says the shape has been drawn on a coordinate grid. So you've got this shape here, and it's asking you to translate the whole shape D, 4 squares to the left and 6 squares up, and then label the new shape E, and then describe that translation from E to D. So how would you go back to where you were? And then here you've got 8 polygons are drawn on a grid. It's got all the different ones here, and it says translate all the different shapes in different ways. And you can try and create one for someone at home, perhaps for your parents to do if they have the time. Okay, I hope that's helped. So that's translation. We'll look at translation with coordinates tomorrow.